Chief, when you talked to the suspect, was there any motive that he gave for why he did this?
There was no motive at this time. As I stated, the subject, the actor, was injured as well. He's receiving medical treatment as well.
What happened to him?
Officer's name?
Pardon me?
Did you spell the officer's name?
Yes, I can.
They're going to be on the pictures.
We also have made pictures available of the officers that will be in the press room here. And I just want to make sure I had the correct spelling of the names. Officer Eric Kelly, that is Kelly. Eric, E-R-I-C.
How old is he? Can you give their ages, please?
At this time, I don't have their ages, but Eric was actually a 14-year veteran officer that was on the force. Officer Stephen, S-T-E-P-H-E-N, Melee, M-A-Y-H-L-E, and Officer Paul Scullo, S-C-I-U-L-L-O, and that's Scullo the third.
Chief, was Mr. Kapolowski known to police that you had responded to his home prior to this, or responded to any incidents involving him prior to this?
At this time, we are investigating that. From what I understand from the neighbors, that family did present some problems in the past in that neighborhood.
Do you know if the police had actually responded to any of those problems?
Yes, the police, as far as we can ascertain right now, had responded to that address at least two to three times.
This appears to be a premeditated act that he was lying in wait for the officers when they responded, correct?
That's what it appears to be.
They knocked on the doors. They identified themselves as Pittsburgh police officers.
That's correct. And as soon as the officer stepped in to the doorway, he was immediately met with gunfire, receiving a wound fatally to the head. Second officer received a wound fatally to the head as well.
Who was the first officer? Where was the officer?
The first officer that entered was Officer Schulo, Paul Schulo. The second officer, his backup officer, was Officer Melee. And the third officer that responded while en route going home from finishing either his tour of duty was Officer Eric Kelly.
How soon after was he fatally injured? Was it sometime after they were killed and he heard the reports of shots fired?
No, this was immediately.
He was on scene by the time they got there?
That's correct.
And the shooting occurred in the doorway, or where specifically in relation to the house?
The shooting occurred in the doorway of this home, as well as after all three officers received these fatal injuries. The subject began to fire out of the bedroom window, which he had occupied with the assault rifle.
Did you have difficulty setting up the perimeter, gauging the range that he had with these rifles?
Yes, it was difficult. We do plan on, when we come across actors with AK assault rifles, AK-47s, but this was a very difficult situation. By the time our other SWAT team members arrived on the scene, you can understand that at any time it takes a period of time for the responding teams to get there.
So at 8:30, you commenced firing on the house?
At 8:30, I believe our SWAT unit did arrive, our armored truck unit arrived. As soon as they moved in to attempt to extract the wounded officers, he began firing onto the SWAT vehicle.
Chief, can you tell us about how the suspect surrendered or how you got him out of the house?
He surrendered through some negotiation with our hostage negotiator team, as well as I believe he wanted to surrender.
Was there a relative who was also talking to him?
There was a relative that was in the house while this was all going on. She was held up in the basement of the home.
Was that his mother or grandmother?
I believe that was his mother.
Did she call the police?
She did call the police to respond to a domestic.
Fight between the two of them?
Between the two of them, yes.
What was the fight over?
We do not know at this time.
Chief, are you identifying the two officers who were injured?
The two officers that were injured, yes, One officer is Officer Timothy McManaway.
Spell, please.
McManaway is M-C-M-A-N-A-W-A-Y. He's a 15-year veteran. And the other officer was Brian Jones. And that's J-O-N-E-S, Jones.
Common spelling?
Pardon me?
R-I-A-N?
Yes.
At what point are they injured?
As I stated, Officer McManaway tried to give assistance to Officer Eric Kelly, as well as also the second officer that was struck by gunfire, and he received an injury to the hand, gunshot wound to the hand. Officer Brian Jones was trying to secure the rear of the house, and he was actually trying to get over a fence, and the fence gave out, and he broke his leg.
Where was the suspect physically in the house when he fired?
We don't know that. That's still under investigation. The way the house is laid out, it's a ranch-style home, so he may have possibly been, in any doorway. But we do know that once he began firing at the SWAT team that arrived, he was firing from the bedroom window.
You mentioned he had being treated. What injuries did he suffer, and what is his condition?
His condition is fair. He received some gunshot wounds to the leg area.
Wounds, plural,
Wounds, plural.
to the leg.
That's correct. Pardon me?
Some people think he was hit in the chest also?
No, that's not accurate information. As I stated, he had a bullet-resistant vest
Are
on.
officers wearing bullet-resistant vests?
At this time, we don't know.
Can you describe the mood of the Bureau right now?
It's a very sad and solemn day. Anytime you lose a family member, and we consider all of our officers family members, and we mourn as if we are the immediate family. We understand that the officer showed a lot of restraint because when the subject decided to give up the fight, that he was taken into custody without any further injury. So the officers did show a lot of professionalism and a lot of restraint as well.
Chief, when he surrendered, did he come out of the house, or did the officers go in, and how did that whole thing transpire?
No, sir. When he surrendered, we were able to get the first officer out of the doorway. The subject showed the sands, showing that he did not have any weapons in his hands, until the first SWAT team was able to go in and take him into custody.
Now, was he wounded by the SWAT officers or by one of the fallen officers, or do we know?
It would have been by the SWAT officers as he engaged in gunfire with the officers, with the SWAT team.
Is that the case you know that none of the three officers who were killed were able to fire a shot?
That's correct. They did not return fire. They did fire. My correction, there was return fire, but we know that there was a lot of gunfire between the subject and the SWAT team.
Chief, where are the wounded?
Pardon me?
What hospital are the wounded?
We aren't going to give that information out. You can understand that the privacy that these officers need as well as the immediate family of these officers. So once again, please respect the officers and their immediate families. It is a solemn and a very sad day in the city of Pittsburgh. As we've seen this type of violence that occurred out in California, we never would think that this type of violence would occur in the city of Pittsburgh. Thank you.
And so it is now confirmed 3 police officers in Pittsburgh have lost their lives at the hands of a 23-year-old gunman by the name of Richard Poplawski, who had lost his job at a glass factory, but who was apparently angry in his belief that the Obama administration would ban guns. He was armed with an AK-47, several powerful handguns, including a .357 Magnum. Hundreds of rounds were fired. 3 police officers died. 2 others have been injured. And Richard Poplawski, the gunman, again 23 years old, is behind bars, or he is at least in police custody now, having surrendered. We can say this.